Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Sukirti Madhvi welcoming all of you for this Chaitanya Charitamrta session. So before we catch Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his journey, let us all chant Mangalacharan. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवन् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्दा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। So we were in MadhyaLila, chapter 4, Sri Mādhavendra Puri's devotional service. And in the last session, we saw about how Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu, he finally reaches Remuna, and there he has the darshan of this most beautiful deities, and Gopalji and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are face to face, and that is how we discussed about what happens when Krishna sees another form of him in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's roop. So now going ahead in that chapter, we would be talking about the story of Mādhavendra Purī. So in the last section where we were just ending, it was the beginning of Mādhavendra Purī, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing this particular pastime with his devotees there. So he stays one night at Ramuna, and at night he starts this discussion. पूर्वे श्री माधव पुरी आईला वृंदावना भ्रमिते भ्रमिते गेला गिरि गोवर्धना. So we see this beautiful, amazing form of Giriraj Maharaj. Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So Krishna has declared that this huge, amazing Parvat, Giriraj, it is not different from Krishna himself. And here it is mentioned that Mādhavendra Purī, he traveled to Vrindavan, where he came upon the hill known as Govardhan. So Mādhavendra Purī has finally reached Govardhan. Mādhavendra Purī was almost mad in his ecstasy of love of Godhead. He did not know whether it was day or night. Sometimes he stood up and sometimes he fell to the ground. He could not discriminate whether he was in a proper place or not. So this was the impact on Mādhavendra Purī just by entering into Sri Dham Vrindavan. When we take shelter of Vrindavan, where Krishna has performed so many innumerable pastimes, and he's still performing so many pastimes. So that place, when a devotee reaches there and then he starts thinking of all about Krishna, his heart is full of the emotions, these transcendental emotions about Krishna, and he's continuously thinking about that. And that is why it is mentioned that he was almost mad in his ecstasy of love. Shaila parikrama kari Govind kunde asi Snana kori vriksha tale achi sandhyai vasi. After circumambulating the hill, Mādhavendra Purī went to Govindakund and took his bath. He then sat beneath a tree to take his evening rest. So Krishna willing, one day we all will go to Govardhan, Giriraj Maharaj, and we will do the parikrama of Govardhan. So it is such a fascinating and wonderful sight doing the parikrama of Giriraj. And here it is described that Mādhavendra Purī has just completed his parikrama. So on an average, people take around 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. Sometimes it takes 7 hours also in just circumambulating the hill, because it depends on our speed, our enthusiasm, and how much time we want to spend on different places. So there are so many places around Govardhan. In fact, if you want to know more about Govardhan and if you want to do the parikrama of Govardhan, we actually have this tour to Vrindavan, virtual tour to Vrindavan. So there one day we took to Govardhan Parikrama also. So the recording of that session is available on our website and our YouTube channel. You can refer that. So when he completed this Parikrama, Mādhavendra Purī come and he sits at Govindakund. So now Govindakund is also a very special place, and here Krishna gets the name Govinda. We all know the pastime that when that Govardhan pastimes happened and Indra was like very offensive, and then finally he realizes his mistake. So when he realizes his mistake, that he was considering Krishna to be an ordinary human being and he had challenged Krishna, though he's the Supreme Lord. So when he realized, and then he started thinking what to do. So he takes shelter of a devotee of Krishna, Surabhi, Mother Surabhi, Surabhi cow. So he requests Mother Surabhi to come along with him and help him in seeking forgiveness from Krishna. So when he comes there and when Krishna sees Mother Surabhi, so Krishna, of course, he forgives him, and then there he performs the Abhishek of Krishna. And so this Govind Kund is actually said that the water is from that Abhishek which Indra has performed. So this is that sacred thing, Govind Kund. And here we see Mādhavendra Purī is sitting. Gopal balak ek dugdha bhandalana Asi aage dhari kichu bolila hasiya. While he was sitting beneath a tree, an unknown cowherd boy came with a pot of milk, placed it before Mādhavendra Purī, and smiling addressed him as follows. Puri ei dugdha lana kara tumi pana magi khene nahi khao kiba kara dhyana. O Mādhavendra Purī, please drink the milk I have brought. Why didn't you beg some food to eat? What kind of meditation are you undergoing? So there's this small boy and he comes from nowhere. Now Mādhavendra Purī was at Govindakund and it was a forest area. And suddenly he sees that this young boy has appeared there with a pot of milk, and this boy is asking questions also. That why you didn't go in the neighboring area, in the neighboring village and beg some food for eating, and what type of meditation are you doing? Balakera saundarye purira hoila santosha tahara madhura vakya gela bhoka shosha. When he saw the beauty of that boy, Mādhavendra Purī became very satisfied. Hearing his sweet words, he forgot all hunger and thirst. So just by the darshan of this sweet boy, Mādhavendra Purī was so captivated and enamored, and he was so satisfied within his heart that he forgot all his hunger and thirst. Purī kahe ke tumi kaha tomar vasa, ke mote janila ami kori upavasa. Balak kahe gop ami ei grame vasi, amara gramite keha na rahe upvasi. So here is the conversation between Mādhavendra Purī and that small boy who had come. So it says that Purī kahe ke tumi kaha tomara vas, ke mote janila ami kori upavas. So he's asking, who are you? Where do you reside? And how did you know that I was fasting? Mādhavendra Purī was very surprised that how this boy in the middle of nowhere, he's coming and he knows that I am fasting also. Sir, I am a cowherd boy and I reside in this village. In my village, no one fasts. So that's the only introduction which this boy gives to Mādhavendra Purī. In this village, a person can beg food from others and thus eat. Some people drink only milk. But if a person does not ask anyone for food, I supply him all his eatables. So now whose village is this where Mādhavendra Purī is? So this village is of Krishna. And so just like how when a guest arrives to our house, and it is our responsibility to inquire about his, like if he is hungry, etc. So similarly, Krishna is saying that here it is, we will know that this boy is Krishna, and he's telling here that I supply him all eatables. In my village, nobody goes hungry, so either you would have begged and eaten something, and since you have not eaten, so I am bringing because it is my responsibility. Jalani te stri gana to mare dekhi gela, stri sab dugdha diya mare pathaila. The women who come here to take water saw you, and they supplied me with this milk and sent me to you. I must go very soon to milk the cows, but I shall return and take back this milk pot from you. So telling this, that boy, because he was asked that, how did you know that I am fasting here? So he says that the ladies came here and then they saw you and they have sent me. So nothing personally I am doing. They have sent me, so I have come with this pot of milk. So you drink this milk, I'll come later and I'll collect the pot. Eta boli gela balak na dekhiye ara, Madhava Purira chitte haila chamatkara. Saying this, the boy left the place. Indeed, he suddenly could be seen no more, and Mādhavendra Purī's heart was filled with wonder. So he was wondering how he has come, and now he's wondering how he has suddenly disappeared. So he just left it, and he was not to be seen anymore. Dugdha pana kori bhanda dhuna rakhaila, Bata dekhe se balaka punah na aila. So this balak, this small boy who introduced himself as a cowherd boy residing in a neighboring area and who has told that he will come, what happens to him? Balak punah na aila. He did not come back. So after drinking the milk, Mādhavendra Purī washed the pot and put it aside. He looked toward the path, but the boy never returned. So he was waiting for him. And the boy himself has told that he'll come, but he did not come. Vasina muli laya puri nidra nahi hoya, Shesha ratri tandra hoila baya vritti laya. Mādhavendra Purī could not sleep. He sat and chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and at the end of the night he dozed a little and his external activities stopped. So this is such a great personality, absorbed in his mind is completely absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. He is not aware of his external surroundings, so whether he is hungry. So we see that how his bodily requirements have diminished so less. He did not feel hungry, he did not feel thirsty, he didn't even want to sleep. What he wanted is chanting Krishna's name and absorbing himself in Krishna. So he was relishing Krishna's pastimes and Krishna's dham there. स्वप्न देखे से बालक सम्मुखे आसीना, एक कुंज लाना गेला हाते ते धोरीना. In a dream, Mādhavendra Purī saw the very same boy. The boy came before him and holding his hand, took him to a bush in the jungle. So when he finally sleeps towards the end of the night, so this boy again comes in his dream and he's holding his hand and he's taking him somewhere. कुंज देखना कहे आमी ei कुंज रही, शीत वृष्टि वाताग्निते महादुख पाई. The boy showed Mādhavendra Purī the bush and said, I reside in this bush, and because of this I suffer very much from severe cold, rain showers, wind and scorching heat. So now this boy was telling that he has no residence. Actually, he's residing beneath the bush. And he says, Shita Vrishti Vatagnite Mahadukha Pai. So it is so troublesome because of these changing seasons. So sometimes it is severely cold, sometimes it starts raining and pouring, sometimes the winds are so strong, and sometimes it is Agnite, it's scorching heat. And he has no shelter. The boy has no shelter. ग्रामे लोक आनी आमा काढ़ कुंज होइते, पर्वत उपरी लना राख भाल माते. Please bring the people of the village and get them to take me out of this bush. Then have them situate me nicely on top of the hill. So this is the request of that boy, that because I am suffering so much and I do not have shelter, so I request you to bring people, take their help, take me out and allot me a place nicely on the top of the hill. एक मठ कोरी ताहा करह स्थापना, बहु शीतल जले कर श्री अंग मार्जना. So now this boy is explaining the entire process as what he wants to happen after taking him out from the bush. So he's saying, please construct a temple on the top of that hill. The boy continued, and install me in that temple. After this, wash me with large quantities of cold water so that my body may be cleansed. So take me out, construct a temple, place me there, and he's now asking for a nice abhishek with lots and lots of cold water. बहुदिन तोमार पथ करि निरीक्षणा, कबे आसी माधव आमा करिबे सेवना. Bahudin Tomar Patha Kori Nirakshan. Can we understand how Krishna is saying here that Bahudin, from many, many days, Tomar Path, I have been observing you and I have been waiting for you. Like I was watching the path that when will you come? Kari Nirikshan. So I was observing and waiting for you. Kabe Asi Madhav Ama Kariba Sevan. When will Mādhavendra Purī come here to serve me? So this is what he has been wondering about. তোমার প্রেম বর্ষে করি সেবা অঙ্গীকারা, দর্শন দিয়া নিস্তারিব সকল samsara. I have accepted your service due to your ecstatic love for me. Thus I shall appear, and by my audience all fallen souls will be delivered. So he is telling that since you are such a wonderful devotee and since you have so much of love for me, you have such ecstatic love for me, that is what your heart is full of, and I understand that. So Krishna residing as Paramatma, he knows what is going on within our heart, and he knows the heart of Mādhavendra Purī. So he's saying that knowing your heart and knowing how you feel for me, I have accepted your service. So when a service comes, it's such a blessing. Actually, when we get service of Krishna, it's a privilege. Devotional service is a privilege. And here he is telling that because I know your ecstatic love, so I am giving you this service. And what would happen is, when you construct my temple, and many, many people would come to take my darshan, and that is how they would be delivered. So that is how you would be helping me in delivering so many people. Shri Gopal Naam Mora Govardhan Dhari, Vajre Rasthapita Ami Iha Adhikari. My name is Gopal. I am the lifter of Govardhan Hill. I was installed by Vajra, and here I am the authority. So now Krishna, the deity of Krishna, Gopalji, he is giving his own introduction that I am the same boy who lifted Govardhan hill. And this deity was carved by Vajra, and now whatever happens, like this whole township is under my authority. Shaila o pari hoite ama kunja laukana mlecha bhai sevak mora gela palana. When the Muslims attacked, the priest who was serving me hid me in this bush in the jungle. Then he ran away out of fear of the attack. So now these priests are also very amazing because they treat Krishna, I mean, like how they want to protect themselves, they protect Krishna also. So there was this deity, and he's telling what has happened in the past is that there was Muslim invasion, and so they were coming. So priest wanted to save me first. So that is why he came and he hid me in this bush so that the Muslims, they don't find me. Otherwise they would like smack and break the deities. So that is what he ensured, that Krishna's deity or Gopalji is safe there in that bush, and then he ran away out of fear of attack. Sei hoite rahi ami ei kunja sthane bhala hoila aila ama kadh savadhane. Since the priest went away, I have been staying in this bush. It is very good that you have come here. Now just remove me with care. Eta boli se balaka antardhana kaila jagiya madhava puri vichar korila. After saying this, the boy disappeared. Then Mādhavendra Puri woke up and began to consider his dream. So Krishna himself has visited in his dream, and he has given a very specific instruction and a very important service to Mādhavendra Puri. So he wakes up and he starts thinking about that. Shri Krishna ka dekhinu muni narinu chinnite eta bali prema veshe padila bhumite. Mādhavendra Puri began to lament. I saw Lord Krishna directly, but I could not recognize him. Thus he fell down on the ground in ecstatic love. So can we imagine how would a devotee feel when Krishna, when he has sakshat darshan of his object of worship? So Krishna had personally come to give that pot of milk, and he had a conversation with Krishna, and now he's thinking, oh my God, I saw you and yet I could not recognize you. So his heart was full of transcendental emotions. Kshane karodana kari mana kaila dhira agya palan lagi hai la susthira. Mādhavendra Puri cried for some time, but then he fixed his mind on executing the order of Gopal. Thus he became tranquil. So he understood that how he actually had darshan of the Supreme Lord, and then now he is realizing, so he's using his transcendental intelligence now. So transcendental emotions and now transcendental intelligence, and he's fixing his mind for executing the order of Gopal. Pratah snan kari puri grama madhya gela sabaloka ekatra kari kahite lagila. After taking his morning bath, Mādhavendra Puri entered the village and assembled all the people. Then he spoke as follows. Gramera Ishwar tomara Govardhan dhari kunje ache chala tanre bahira yakari. The proprietor of this village, Govardhan Dhari, is lying in the bushes. Let us go there and rescue him from that place. Atyanta nivida kunja nari praveshite kothari kodali laha dvarakari karite. The bushes are very dense and we will not be able to enter the jungle. Therefore, take choppers and spades to clear the way. So now Mādhavendra Puri knows exactly where these deities are, And he knows how dense the whole area is, how dense the bushes are in that area. And how does he know all this? Because Gopal has personally taken him to that place in the dream already. So he's telling that the bushes are very dense, so let us take proper chopper and spade. Shuni lok tanra sange chalila harishe kunja kati dwara kori korila praveshe. After hearing this, all the people accompanied Mādhavendra Purī with great pleasure. According to his directions, they cut down bushes, cleared a path and entered the jungle. So now Vrajvasis, the residents of Vrindavan, they do all their activities for Krishna and they don't doubt whether Krishna is there, whether Krishna is real, whether this dream is real, whether this person is what he's saying would happen or not happen. They completely trust. So whatever happens, so they were told by Mādhavendra Purī and they became very happy. So with great pleasure they went there. Thakura dekhila mati trina achadita देखी सब लोका होइला आनंदे विस्मिता. When they saw the deity covered with dirt and grass, they were all struck with wonder and pleasure. So they were amazed. They were amazed when they had this darshan of this most beautiful deities. Avrana dura kori korila vidite Mahabhari Thakur kya nare chalaite. After they had cleansed the body of the deity, some of them said, the deity is very heavy. No single person can move him. Maha balisht loka ekatra karina parvata upari gela Puri Thakur lana. Since the deity was very heavy, some of these strong men, what is written there? Balisht lok ekatra karina. So some stronger men assembled to carry him to the top of the hill. So he has not only appeared in Mādhavendra Puri's dream and given the instruction of taking him out, but has actually shown that where he wants to be there at the hilltop. So they all carried the deities and Mādhavendra Puri also went there. Pathare rasimhasane Thakura vasaila Bada eka pathar prishthe avalamba dila. A big stone was made into a throne and the deity was installed upon it. Another big stone was placed behind the deity for the support. So the deities were placed there. The throne, temporary throne was constructed and that is how the deity installation was going to happen. So the deities were made to sit there. The altar was being prepared. Gramera Brahmana Saba Nava Ghatalana Govinda Kundera Jala Anila Chanina. All the Brahman priests of the village gathered together with 9 water pots and water from Govind Kund lake was brought there and filtered. So if we remember, at the Govind Kund actually Mādhavendra Puri was sitting when that boy visited. So very close to that actually. So even now when we visit this place, the deities have been shifted, but that place is there where the altar was set up. So again, because of the Muslim invasion, the deities were shifted from there, but that place is still there and we can see from Govind Kund. So the water pots were taken there for the Abhishek. Navashata ghata jala koila upanita Nana Vadya Bheri Bhaje Strigan Gaya Gita. When the deity was being installed, 900 pots of water were brought from Govind Kund. There were musical sounds of bugles and drums and the singing of women. Now, do we have any idea 900 pots of water carrying it from down to the hilltop? How many people would be required for that? How they would have transferred so much water? And what amazing sight that would have been, just continuously bathing the deities more and more and more with cold water as he has requested. Keha gaya keha nache mahotsava hoila Dadhi dugdha grita aila grame yata chila. During the festival, at the installation ceremony, some people sang and some danced. all the milk, yogurt, and clarified butter in the village were brought to the festival. So now another festival is going on, and all various offerings are reaching there. And as we can see in this image, though it looks, it's a little smaller image, but if you can all see the image, these deities are none other than Srinathji. So now these deities are worshipped as Srinathji. This is the same deity which was found by Mādhavendra Purī. भोग सामग्री आईला संदेशादियता नाना उपहार ताहा कहते पारिकता. Various foods and sweetmeats as well as other kinds of presentations were brought there. I am unable to describe all these. तुलसी आदि पुष्प वस्त्र आईला अनेका आपने माधव पुरी कोइला abhisheka. The villagers brought a large quantity of tulsi leaves, flowers, and various kinds of garments. Then Sri Mādhavendra Purī personally began the abhishek. So this process of deity worship, my dear devotees, it's a very, very strong and powerful process. This connects us to Krishna on a very personal and intimate level. The deities are, we may say, oh, it is just some ordinary stone or some metal, etc. But it is not true. Deities, as we see here, there was a lot of reciprocation. The deities take care of the devotee. The deities invited, going in the dream and calling out that come and take me out from there and establish a temple. So deities are giving instructions also. And when we serve the deities, like how it is being described here, and we'll see in the further verses. So when we serve the deities by bathing them, by cooking for them, by offering nice food, by performing arati, we all actually, our faith, it becomes more and more and more deep. We become so connected to Krishna. So this is all actually practice. Sadhana means practice. So when we are serving the deities here in this material world, it's a practice session. So that we prepare ourselves, we prepare our consciousness to go to Golok Vrindavan and serve Krishna directly. Amangala dura kori korila snana bahutaila diya koila shriyanga chekkana. After all inauspicious things were driven away by the chanting of the mantra, the deity's bathing ceremony started. First, the deity was massaged with a large quantity of oil so that his body become very glossy. So this used to be the tradition earlier that, even the normal people like us, they would apply oil. Mothers would apply oil before giving bath to the children. Or even now, I think in villages, this practice continues that they apply oil and then they take bath. So for the deities, the reason is also written that the body becomes very glossy. So that's why a lot of oil was massaged. Panchagavya Panchamrite Snana Karana Mahasnana Karaila Shataghata Dina. After the first bathing, further bathings were conducted with Panchagavya and then with Panchamrit. Then the Mahasnan was performed with ghee and water, which had been brought in 100 pots. So Panchagavya refers to 5 different types of elements which comes from cow. So that Panchagavya and then Panchamrit and then finally the Snan or the bathing ceremony started. Puna taila diya koila shriyanga chekkana shankha gandha doke koila snana samadhana. After the Mahasnan was finished, the deity was again massaged with scented oil and his body made glossy. Then the last bathing ceremony was performed with scented water kept within a conch shell. Shriyanga marjana kari vastra paraila chandan tulsi pushpa mala ange dila. After the body of the deity was cleansed, he was dressed very nicely with new garments. Then sandalwood pulp, tulsi garlands and other fragrant flower garlands were placed upon the body of the deity. So this is how first he was given a nice bath and then the oil was applied, and then we read that how he was again bathed with scented water. So instead of applying perfume, it's like Like how we have UD cologne. So Krishna is having the cologne bath there. And then finally he was cleaned, he was offered fresh clothes, and then different types of garlands and sandalwood pulp was applied. धूप दीप करी नाना भोग लगाईला दधि दुग्ध संदेशादि यत किछु आइला. After the bathing ceremony was finished, incense and lamps were burned and all kinds of food offered before the deity. These foods included yogurt, milk, and as many sweetmeats as were received. सुवसित जल नव पात्र समर्पिला आचमान दिया से तांबूल निवेदिला. The deity was first offered many varieties of food, then scented drinking water in new pots, and then water for washing the mouth. Finally, pan mixed with a variety of spices was offered. So this is how the ceremony was being performed. And you would be surprised that generally this is how in all the ISKCON temples daily the ceremony happens. So daily the Lord is given abhishek, and then after that offerings and different varieties of offering, the scented water and the water for washing the mouth, everything elaborately happens in all our temples. आरती कृत करी कैला बहुत स्तवना दंडवत करी कैला आत्मसमर्पणा. After the last offering of tambula and pan, Bhog Arti was performed. Finally, everyone offered various prayers and then obeisances, falling flat before the deity in full surrender. So actually when we pay obeisances, like again, when you visit ISKCON temple and you if you are a regular visitor, you would also have learned. But otherwise, you would see that all the devotees, they offer obeisances. They offer dandavat pranams to the Lord. So that falling before the deities show my complete surrender. So this is what is mentioned, that the offering was over and then the Bhog Arti was performed. So after offering, again there is an Arti and then everybody paid obeisances. ग्रामे रायते का तांडुल डाली गोधुम चूर्णा सकल अनिया दिला पर्वतैल पूर्णा. As soon as the people of the village had understood that the deity was going to be installed, they had brought their entire stocks of rice, dal and wheat flour. They brought such large quantities that the entire surface of the top of the hill was filled. So it's a huge hill and the entire top surface was filled. We cannot imagine how much groceries had come there. Kumbhakara ghare chila ye mrid bhajana sabanila prate chadil randhana. When the villagers brought their stock of rice, dal and flour, the potters of the village brought all kinds of cooking pots. And in the morning the cooking began. So see, the festival is going on, the deities have been installed and everybody wants to participate. I want to cook something for Krishna. No, I also want to cook something from Krishna. I want this rice and I get this dal and the potters get the cooking pot. So everybody is contributing in their own way for celebrating this Mahotsav or the festival. दश विप्र अन्न रांधि करे एक स्तूपा Jana pancharandhe vyanjanadi nana supa. 10 Brahmins cooked the food grains and 5 Brahmins cooked both dry and liquid vegetables. Vanya shaka phala mule vividha vyanjana. The vegetable preparations were made from various kinds of spinach, roots and fruits collected from the forest, and someone made bada and badi by mashing dal. In this way, the Brahmanas prepared all kinds of food. So different varieties and all fresh ingredients were gathered, and as it is mentioned that the spinach, roots and fruits. So they went in the forest. Govardhan has a huge forest area. So they went, they collected, they brought, and they all started cooking. They were all cooking and offering and cooking and offering. So this was going on. Jana pancha sata ruti kore rashi rashi Anna vyanjana saba rahe grite basi. 5 to 7 men prepared a huge quantity of chapatis, which were completely covered with ghee, as were all the vegetables, rice and dal. So they are not shying away from making chapatis also. So unlimited chapatis. Now chapati wise specifically it's mentioned because it takes a little extra effort to prepare. But they prepared huge chapatis and some of them were just sitting and applying ghee to all the chapatis. So everything was like with lots and lots of ghee. नव वस्त्र पातीता है पाला शेरा पाता रांधी रांधी तारा ऊपर राशि कोयला भाता. All the cooked rice was stacked on palash leaves, which were on new clothes spread over the ground. तारा पाशे रोटी राशिर पर्वत हाइला सूप आदि व्यंजन भांडा चौदे के धरिला. Around the stack of cooked rice were stacks of chapatis, and all the vegetables and liquid vegetable preparations were placed in different pots and put around them. So like we were discussing in the last session also, that Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, the more we read Chaitanya Charitamrta, we find that this is a very, very interesting and pleasurable process of God realization, where we are just singing and dancing and cooking and eating and singing and dancing and cooking and eating. That is all what goes on. So here we see that for the deities also so many things are being prepared and being offered. Tara pashe dadhi dugdha matha shikharini payasa mathani sara pashe dhariyani. Pots of yogurt, milk, buttermilk and shikharini, sweet rice, cream and solid cream were placed alongside the vegetables. Hinamate anna kuta korila sajana Purī gosai gopaler koila samarpana. In this way, the Annakut ceremony was performed and Mādhavendra Purī Goswami personally offered everything to Gopal. So all the villagers gathered together, collectively they cooked, and then everything was offered to Gopal. Ane ghat bhari dila suvasita jala bahudin kshudhaya Gopal khail sakala. Many water pots were filled with scented water for drinking, and Lord Sri Gopal, who had been hungry for many days, ate everything offered to him. So Gopalji was there under the bushes, and now finally he is getting lots and lots of food to eat, and it is mentioned that he started eating now. Yadyapi Gopal sab anna vyanjan khaila Tanra hasta sparshe punah temani hoila. So this is another amazing thing of the Supreme Lord. Although Sri Gopal ate everything offered, still by the touch of his transcendental hand, everything remained as before. So though he ate everything, but everything was still there. Iha anubhava koila Madhava Gosai Tanra thani Gopalera lukan ki chunai. How Gopal ate everything while the food remained the same was transcendentally perceived by Mādhavendra Purī Goswami. Nothing remains a secret to the devotees of the Lord. Ekade nirudyoge aiche mahotsav kaila Gopal prabhave hoya anya na janila. The wonderful festival and installation of Sri Gopalji was arranged in one day. Certainly, all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopal. No one but a devotee can understand this. So here we are talking about like unlimited preparations were cooked. Like so many people were engaged and so many different varieties of food items were prepared. So first they brought the deities, the Abhishek happened, the Aarti happened, the Bhoga happened, the cooking happened, again the Aarti happened. Everything in just one day. at one day's notice. Like there was no notice. Night he gets a dream and then morning he goes and collects people and he starts the whole festival. So of course this was happening on the potency of Gopalji. आचमन दिया दिला विड़का संचया आरती करिला लोके करे जय जया. Mādhavendra Purī offered water to Gopal for washing his mouth and he gave him betel nuts to chew. Then while Aarti was performed, all the people chanted, Jai, 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 all glories to Gopal. Shayakaraila nutan khata anana nava vastra ani tara upare patiya. Arranging for the Lord's rest, Sri Mādhavendra Purī brought a new cot and over this he spread a new bedspread and thus made the bed ready. So all the activities, when we are doing deity worship, we treat Krishna as a person. So as a person he eats, as a person he sleeps also. So the bed is ready and Gopal is going to sleep now. तृण टाटी दिया चारी दीक आवरीला ऊपरे त एक टाटी दिया achadila. A temporary temple was constructed by covering the bed all around with a straw mattress. Thus there was a bed and a straw mattress to cover it. So temporary arrangement is made as of now for Gopalji. Purī gosaiyagya dila sakala brahmane abala vriddha grame lokakara bhojane. After the Lord was laid down to rest on the bed, Mādhavendra Purī gathered all the brahmanas who had prepared the prasadam and said to them, now feed everyone sumptuously from the children on up to the aged. So now Krishna has eaten everything and he has returned everything also. So now the rest of the food, the prasadam distribution time. So everyone is gearing up for distributing prasadam to each and every soul who has come and participated in the festival. Sabevasi krame krame bhojan karila brahmana brahmani gane age khayo aila. All the people gathered there sat down to honor the prasadam, and by they took food. All the brahmanas and their wives were fed first. So this is how they were all seated and they started eating, and brahmanas are given a certain amount of respect in the society, so they are the first ones who were fed, who were offered prasadam. अन्य ग्रामे लोक यथा देखिते आइला गोपाल देखिया सब प्रसाद खाइला. Those who took prasadam included not only the people of Govardhan village but also those who came from other villages. They also saw the deity of Gopal and were offered prasadam to eat. So as I was telling, prasadam is for everyone. So everyone was getting prasadam, whoever has come there. देखिया पुरीरा प्रभाव लोके चमत्कारा पूर्व अन्नकूट येना होइला साक्षात्कारा. Seeing the influence of Mādhavendra Purī, all the people gathered there were struck with wonder. They saw that the Annakut ceremony, which had been performed before during the time of Krishna, was now taking place again by the mercy of Sri Mādhavendra Purī. So 5,000 years ago when Krishna was personally present, and there was this Govardhan pastime where all these food items were offered by the villagers to Krishna in the form of Govardhan. And this Govardhan was accepting and eating everything. So whatever was brought and he was eating, and there's such beautiful description. He was shouting out, Anayor, Anayor, which means give me more, give me more. And Giriraj Maharaj was eating prasadam, eating. And then he finally returns everything. And then people started eating. So same thing is happening here, that everything is being offered to Gopalji. He accepted, and now it's the distribution of prasadam. All the brahmanas present on that occasion were initiated by Mādhavendra Purī into the Vaishnav cult, and Mādhavendra Purī engaged them in different types of services. So he assigned different services to different brahmanas so that the seva, puja, aradhana of Krishna happens uninterruptedly. So many peoples were engaged, and this is how the worship of Krishna in the form of Gopalji started there at Govardhan Hill. Punadina sheshe prabhur karaila uthana, kichu bhoga lagaila karaila jalpana. After taking rest, the deity must be awakened at the end of the day, and immediately some food and some water must be offered to him. So now this is another interesting thing. This is known as Vaikali Bhog. So when Krishna, he takes rest, and then whenever Krishna wakes up after resting, immediately one bhoga offering happens at that time. So when a person wakes up, then the person is generally hungry. So Krishna is offered food at that time also. Gopala prakata haila, desha shabda haila, asha pasha gramer loka, dekhite aila. When it was advertised throughout the country that Lord Gopal had appeared atop Govardhan Hill, all the people from neighboring villages came to see the deity. Ekeka din ekek grama laila magina, annakuta kare sabe harashitahana. One village after another was pleased to beg Mādhavendra Purī to allot them one day to perform the Annakut ceremony. Thus, day after day, the Annakut ceremony was performed for some time. So whatever we have discussed just now, that was one day, and that same ceremony was being repeated again and again and again, because people from different village would come. So they would book the days with Mādhavendra Purī. So today is my village day, and all the villagers of my village would come and cook. And then the next day, the next village, and the third day, the third village, and the fourth day, the fourth village. And this is how this Annakut ceremony was performed for some time. Ratri kale thakurera karaiya shayana, Puri gosai koila kichu gavya bhojana. Sri Mādhavendra Purī did not eat anything throughout the day, but at night, after laying the deity down to rest, he took a milk preparation. Prata kale puna taiche korila sevana, annalana eka grame raila loka gana. The next morning, the rendering of service to the deity began again, and people from one village arrived with all kinds of food grains. So this is the next day morning, and the next village people had come. Annagreta dadhi dugdha grame yata chila, Gopalera age loka aniya dharila. So these people, they brought again all these offerings like anna, ghrit, dadhi, dugdha, which means food grains, ghee, yogurt and milk. So they brought everything, and what did they do? They offered it to the deities. They brought it in front of the deities of Gopal. Purvadena praya vipra korila randhana, taiche anna kuta Gopal korila bhojana. The next day, almost as before, there was an Annakut ceremony. All the Brahmana prepared foods, and Gopal accepted them. Vrajavasi lokher Krishne sahaja piriti, Gopalera sahaj priti vrajavasi prati. The ideal place to execute Krishna consciousness is Vraj Bhumi or Vrindavan, where the people are naturally inclined to love Krishna, and Krishna is naturally inclined to love them. So this is such a natural inclination. Nobody is forcing them to come and prepare Annakut. They have this natural feeling of love that they were coming and preparing this elaborate offering day after day after day. Mahaprasad khaila aisya sabaloka, Gopal dekhiya sabar khande dukha shoka. Throngs of people came from different villages to see the deity of Gopal, and they took Mahaprasadam sumptuously. When they saw the super excellent form of Lord Gopal, all their lamentations and unhappiness disappeared. Khand, dukha, shok. So whatever lamentation or unhappiness they had, everything disappeared. आशपाश व्रज भूमेर यत ग्राम सभा एक एक दिन सबे करे महोत्सवा. All the villages in the neighboring Vrajbhumi became aware of the appearance of Gopal, and all the people from these villages came to see him. Day after day, they all performed the Annakut ceremony. Gopala prakata shuni nana desha hoite nana dravya layana loka lagila asite. So again, it is mentioned that people from all other provinces came and they were offering their different types of food grains, etc. for the pleasure of Gopalji. Mathurara loka sabha bada bada dhani bhakti kari nana dravya bheta deya ani. The people of Mathura, who were very big capitalists, also brought various presentations and offered them before the deity in devotional service. So what to talk of Rajbhumi, the news was spreading far and wide, and people from Mathura also, they came there. Svarna raupya vastra gandha bhaksha uphara asankhya aise nitya badila bhandara. Asankhya aise, countless presentation of gold, silver, garments, scented articles and eatables arrived. The store of Gopal increased daily. So imagine, it started from a temporary shed wala temple, and now here the bhandar is what is happening, Nitya Badila. Every day it was increasing. The bhandar or the store of Gopal was increasing. एक महाध्वनि क्षत्रे कराइला मंदिरा केह पाक भंडारा कोइला केह ta prachira. One very rich kshatriya of the royal order constructed a temple. Someone made cooking utensils and someone constructed boundary walls. So one after the other, everything was being arranged by the potency of Gopalji and by the love of his devotees. एक एक ब्रजवासी एक गाभी दिला सहस्र सहस्र गाभी गोपाले रहोइला. Each and every family residing in the land of Rajbhumi contributed one cow. In this way, thousands of cows became the property of Gopal. So it's really unlimited gifts which are coming to Gopalji. गौड़ा हाइते आइला दुई वैरागी ब्राह्मणा पूरी गोसाई राखिल तारा करिया यतना. Eventually, two brahmanas in the renounced order arrived from Bengal, and Mādhavendra Purī, who liked them very much, kept them in Vrindavan and gave them all kinds of comforts. So these two brahmanas have come who have impressed Mādhavendra Purī a lot, so he keeps them there. Sei doi shishya kori seva samarpila Raja seva haya puri ranand badila. And what happened, that these two brahmanas were then initiated by Mādhavendra Purī, and he entrusted them with the daily service of the Lord. This service was performed continuously and the worship of the deity became very gorgeous. Thus Mādhavendra Purī was very pleased. So this Mādhavendra Purī got this dream that Krishna wanted to come out and be worshipped, and now finally he has seen that everything is stable. Two brahmanas are there who would take care of all the details of the daily service, and that pleased Mādhavendra Purī a lot. So the devotee of the Lords are pleased when they see that the Lord service, we are engaged in the Lord service. So that pleases the devotees. Ei mat vatsar doi korila sevana eka dina puri gosai dekhila swapana. Here there is another swapna coming up, the second dream. So in this way the deity worship in the temple was very gorgeously performed for the 2 years. Then one day Mādhavendra Purī had a dream. So now this is the second dream. In his dream, Mādhavendra Purī saw Gopal, who said, "My bodily temperature still has not decreased. Please bring sandalwood from the Malaya province and smear the pulp over my body to cool me." So now this is the second instruction which Mādhavendra Purī is receiving directly from Gopalji, and Gopalji is requesting him to go to Malaya province and from there get the sandalwood and apply that sandalwood on all over my body, because my body is still not cool. So though despite of being bathing with lots and lots of cold water and sandalwood pulp, but he is requesting that he is ordering that he wants a specific type of sandalwood. Malaya ja anayana nila chala haite anya haite nahe tumi chala hatvarite. Bring sandalwood pulp from Jagannath Puri. Kindly go quickly. Since no one else can do it, you must. So he is instructing that you directly, you personally have to go Mādhavendra Puri. Don't think that somebody else can do this. You have to do this. So we know where is Vrindavan and where is Jagannath Puri. Such a long distance. And Krishna is personally instructing as Gopalji that go there and get it for me. Swapna dekhi puri gosair hoila premavesha Prabhu agya pali bare gela purva desha. After having this dream, Mādhavendra Puri Goswami became very glad due to ecstasy of love of Godhead. And in order to execute the command of the Lord, he started east towards Bengal. So this is how the devotees of the Lord they are, that they get one instruction and they do everything to fulfill that instruction. And his heart was full of joy that Krishna has personally asked me something. Sevara nirbandha loka korila sthapana agya magi gauda deshe korila gamana. Before leaving, Mādhavendra Puri made all arrangements for regular deity worship and he engaged different people in various duties. Then taking up the order of Gopal, he started for Bengal. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here we have seen the deities and how they were so interactive and reciprocating with Mādhavendra Puri, and they have been giving, the deities have been giving him instructions. In the next session, we will see this very, very interesting journey and how Mādhavendra Puri has the darshan of yet another deity and he has yet another set of very sweet interaction with the deities. So we would stop here and request you to leave your comments in the YouTube section about what is your most important learning or what is it that touched your heart the most. So in the entire episode of today's of the installation of the temple by Mādhavendra Puri and Krishna visiting him in his dream and bringing him the milk and other things. So which is that one thing which touched your heart? So looking forward to see you all for the next session. Hare Krishna.